Welcome to my Dan's 420 Chronicles 2022 concert review. All right, that leaves us with really two sections left. I know I said there was two before that, but we still have the other rock category, and then I said that we would close things out by talking about the festivals that I attended this year. And I've already kind of talked a little bit about those festivals, but I'll get more into those here after we talk about this last genre, this last category, which is all other rock. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single band, but I'll list them all off really quick. There was 741, I Prevail, Shaman's Harvest, Crowbot, Tool, which I got to see twice, Slash, that's right, one of the original founding members of Guns N' Roses. I mentioned it earlier, my favorite of all-time bands. Got to see Steel Panther, the Stadium Tour, I talked about that earlier with Molly Crew, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, Mudvayne, Korn, 3 Days Grace, Aaron Lewis, Drowning Pool, we got to see them twice too, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Bring Me the Horizon, Breaking Benjamin, Megadeth, Bowling for Soup. No, they might have fit an alternative too, but this is where I stuck them. And the final band is Slipknot. I got to see them twice this year as well. All of those bands were amazing. Every one of those shows, memories that I will always remember. And again, if you want to know that entire list of bands, you can, of course, check that out on my dans420chronicles.com/concert page, where you can not only check out that entire list, but you can read my reviews, which talks about my experiences at these shows, as well as the pictures that I managed to get from each of those shows as well. So I, of course, encourage everybody to take a moment and check out my webpage if you haven't already done so. So anyway, let's talk about a couple of these bands. Try and get this as quick as I can. 741, played with Simple Plan. Saw them twice because they were a bucket list band for Jess. And though I only knew two of their songs, loved the energy that they had in Texas. When they came here to Denver, they put on a good show, but they didn't have quite the same energy. Although I will say that was the last date on their tour, so they were probably tired and ready to wrap it up. Tool, as I mentioned, I got to see them twice, back-to-back nights. That was amazing. Saw them in Springs and then again in Denver. And though Tool is my top three band, I said I would mention it earlier what my top three of all-time favorite bands are. It starts with, of course, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and then Tool. Those are my top three bands. So seeing Tool twice this year almost thinks, and being in my top three almost makes it seem like they are a no-brainer for that number one spot, right? Well, I don't think so. They put on a great show. Don't get me wrong, I had an awesome time, but Tool played a lot more of their newer stuff, and I wasn't really familiar with it at the time. So, again, great show, but just would have loved to have seen a little bit more of their older stuff that they play. But, it is what it is. Good show. Slash, awesome show. Won tickets to see that. One of the original founding members of Guns N' Roses. I said my favorite band of all time. I think Slash is an amazing guitarist. Oh, I'm just mesmerized every time I just watch or listen to that guy play. The riffs he comes up with, oh my God, he is, in my opinion, one of the greatest. And I know there are a lot of greatest out there. And that list could be argued to death. But for me, Slash is definitely very high on that list somewhere. Steel Panther, got to see them late last year and then again early this year. So it was almost back to back. And here's something really cool about Steel Panther. Last year when we went to go see them, I was posting pictures on my Instagram from their show. Well, not only did Michael Starr, their lead singer, like my pictures that I posted in videos, but he also started following me on Instagram. No lie, when that happened, I completely fanned out. I was so ecstatic. He is the only person, famous, popular, whatever you want to call him, that follows me. Of course, don't get me wrong, I appreciate all of my followers out there, but to have an artist like him turn around and start following me, wasn't even following him. he started following me first. That is freaking amazing, and a moment that I will cherish, no doubt. He still follows me. I follow him now. Doesn't really comment on my stuff, but just the fact that he follows me, tell you what, I'm going to take that as a win. That being said, unfortunately, they're not going to take that number one spot. Molly Crew, how about that stadium tour with Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett? Oh my God, I had an amazing time at that show. I drank way too much. Jess was driving that night. She was our designated driver, but I got really trashed. For me personally, I think Def Leppard stole the night. I think they put on an amazing show. Of course, when Molly Crew hit the stage, I was pretty drunk, and some of that's a little bit fuzzy, but I think Def Leppard definitely stole that show. Really quick, let me tell you a backstory about Def Leppard. Back when I was in grade school, Def Leppard was the first band. Hold on, let me get this going. Def Leppard was the first band that I saw without my parents. My parents took me to a lot of bands growing up. I've seen so many bands from Bruce Springsteen, Bob Seger, Tina Turner, Pink Floyd. I can't even remember all of them, but there are so many. But I remember I was in grade school, and Def Leppard was coming in tour. My parents weren't really big fans of them at the time, but I had a buddy who wanted to go with me, so they decided to let us go. And they picked us up from the show. It was the first time I had ever bought tickets for a GA show, or bought GA tickets for a show, which isn't really true. I did buy tickets for Pink Floyd, and originally they were GA tickets back in Seattle, and then they decided to change that, and we had to go exchange our GA tickets for seated tickets, although for that show we were only about 15 rows back. Amazing seats. But anyway, Def Leppard back in the day, right? So I get these GA tickets, no idea what it really means. I mean, I get the idea it's standing room only, but I had no real concept of what I was about to get myself into. We got there early to the venue. I think by the time we got in, we were maybe 2 people off of the rail. Standing there, everything's all nice and calm, right? Well, before the show, there's not a lot of activity that happens. People just start to gather, slowly pack in. There's no real, everybody's kind of respecting a little bit of space in that moment, right? Well, I had no idea what was about to hit. I think it was LA Guns that opened for him. I honestly don't remember. But when that first band hit the stage, that crowd went crazy. It was the first time I had ever found myself in a mosh pit. And from that moment on, to this day, I prefer to be nowhere else but to be on that floor, in that crowd, either on the rail, which is usually where I get, or back in the mosh pit area. Now, unfortunately, my doctors don't really want me doing a lot of moshing these days because of the medical issues that I've had over the last year and a half. But man, I still sometimes gaze into those pits as I'm standing next to them and just want to get in there. It's so much fun. But anyway, so Def Leppard holds a special place for me just because of that experience that I had, my first show without my parents, and then to be in that floor, in that mosh pit. But all of that said, even bringing back those memories, as good of a show as that was, that is not the number one pick for this category. There was the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was a fun show. Saw them at Mile High. It rained so hard on us. We got drenched, but you know what? I'm just happy that the band continued to play. The fans stayed. I didn't see anybody leave. Everybody was soaked by the end of the night. Some people were prepared. Some people had ponchos and umbrellas. We didn't, unfortunately. But there were a lot of other people like us that did not have that did come unprepared, and they got just as drenched as we did. And I tell you what, that was an amazing show. Me, my daughter, and Jess went to that. Mudvayne was another really good one. I tell you what, Mudvayne was one of the craziest pits and just crowds that I've been in. We were up on the rail for that. All of us were so beat up and bruised from being pushed into, being knocked into the rail, trying to brace ourselves to give ourselves a little space. I've been in some crazy pits, don't get me wrong. I've been in some crazy crowds. But this is probably for the 2022. This, by far, was the craziest crowd I was in. And Mudvayne put on an awesome set. Really, another quick story. I don't want to talk too much about him because it's my daughter's ex-boyfriend, but he was there with us. He was on the rail, and Chad Gray, when he came out into the crowd, absolutely teabagged him. That was the funniest moment to see. There are pictures, in fact, if you go through my Facebook, which you're going to have to scroll pretty far back, but there are pictures of him getting teabagged by Chad Gray right there on the rail. It's funny as shit. Anyway, also saw Korn. I won tickets for that from the radio station. That was a good show. 3 Days Grace. Jess won tickets for that show. She actually won VIP tickets. We got to do a little meet and greet, little early entrance to the venue. That was a really fun show. In fact, we saw 3 Days Grace and Korn in the same week. I think maybe there was a day in between them. There was Aaron Lewis. Really quick, let me tell you about Aaron Lewis. I saw him, I think, a year ago back at Rockville, and he was playing there as Aaron Lewis. And I thought, I don't really know many Aaron Lewis songs. But we checked him out anyway. He was just the band that was at the stage that was playing. I don't remember who was going to play after him. But anyway, so we watched his set, and Aaron Lewis played all of the Stain songs that I know, and I know quite a few. He put on a great show, and I thought, wow, I was surprised because he's touring as Aaron Lewis, but he played all of those Stain songs. So when I found out he was coming here on tour and coming to Pueblo, no less, which is right in my backyard, he played probably 4 miles away from where I live. It was a no-brainer. I thought, I'm going to absolutely go to that show. However, after I bought my tickets, I realized, and this is on me, I get it, it's not necessarily a bait and switch on his part, but I realized he was playing Aaron Lewis music, and that's what he did. He played 2 Stain songs, and as I just mentioned, I didn't know any of his other stuff. So, yeah, it was a good show, but I was a little bit disappointed. There was Drowning Pool this year. Got to see them twice. Saw them at the beginning of the year. Won tickets to that show. And then we just saw them last month. In fact, that was the last concert that we've been to this year. That was how we rounded things out. And for that show, the reason we went to see them twice was they were playing in Denver and they had $10 tickets. And I told Jess, hey, this is another great opportunity for us to take the kids and to get all 3 of them exposed to this live music. Now, her oldest son, he's been to a show before. He's been to a rap show with his dad and his mom back in the, a couple before I was in the picture. So I wanted to take him to his first rock show, right? Middle-aged kid, been to Panic at the Disco, so he'd been to a show before. The youngest, obviously never been to a show, so wanted to let him have that experience as well. What's really cool about that show was that we had floor tickets. We were up on the rail all night, all of us, the kids were. And the bands were so cool. They gave the kids so many drum picks, guitar picks, set list. They signed their tickets. One of the bands even signed the Middle Ages jean jacket. Oh, that was the highlight of his night. He still talks about how that rocker, he calls him, signed his jean jacket. Oh, that's one of his most valued prizes. So that was a really, really cool experience. There was Bring Me the Horizon. They put on an awesome show. Breaking Benjamin. Now, this is Jess's #1 of all-time favorite bands. So we saw them with Alice in Chains. We ended up getting VIP for that. We got to do a little acoustic set with Breaking Benjamin. That was really cool. We were standing about almost as far away from as I am from my camera, which is almost right there, arm's length away, and they sang. It was freaking amazing. They put on a really good show. There was Megadeth. Let me tell you something about Megadeth and that show that I went to. I know this video is going really long, so hopefully, again, all of you out there are stoned and still enjoying it. Hopefully, you're all still with me. In fact, if you're still out there and you're still watching, let me know. Let me know somehow. Maybe hit that like button right there, or right there. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere down there. Maybe hit that like button. Let me know that you're still watching this video. Or even better, leave a comment down below and say, I made it to this point of your video, and it was good, it was bad, whatever you want to say. But let me know if you're still with me out there. And again, hopefully you're all out there puffing or just got a nice little high or buzz going on. Again, whatever it is that you prefer to do. Now this is going out on me again. I'm going to use my little clip Right there, yeah, I'm old school. I know. But I'm going to use my clip now to try and finish this joint off while I wrap up the bands for this category, this genre, and then rank it, right? Pick my top picks. All right, I was talking about Megadeth. The Megadeth show we went to, it was me, Jess, my daughter, and her boyfriend at the time. And we bought some pretty cheap tickets, basically. They were doing a special, 4 tickets for $25 a piece. Of course, they have all their fees and service charges. On top of that, which still makes the tickets way more than that $25 they advertise. But, excuse me. Sorry. Anyway, so we bought those Megadeth tickets, the 4 of us. It was a 4-pack you had to buy. We were like in the 100, maybe the 200 level. We were 1 row back, so we had really good seats. And the day of the show, my daughter's boyfriend, boy, I'm starting to feel a little stoned, I think, starting to get things a little mixed up and confused. Feeling that stone behind the eyes feeling going on. I talk about that a lot in my weed reviews. Just got that creative and happiness feeling going on. I am definitely starting to feel a little stoned, which is good because that's when I talk the best. At least that's what I think, personally. Anyway, I'm rambling. Those of you who know that is one of those signs that I am stoned. Anyway, Megadeth. We're talking about Megadeth. The 4 of us have tickets. The 4 of us go. My daughter and her boyfriend, well, her boyfriend at the time drives. So Jess and I are having some drinks. We're having a good time. The day of the show, as I said, we leave early. We're having these drinks. Well, as we get there or on our way to the show, her boyfriend, my daughter's boyfriend at the time, decides he doesn't want to be in the seats for Lamb of God. He wants to be down on the floor into the pit. Which, again, I get it. I prefer to be down there too. But given the price that the tickets were, I was happy staying in my seats. But he wasn't. So he decided he was going to buy 2 extra tickets to get down on the floor and go down on the floor for Lamb of God, the band that was opening up for Megadeth. There was 4 big bands. I think it was In Flames, Trivium, Lamb of God, and Megadeth. And he specifically wanted to be down there for that Lamb of God set. Well, anyway, so we get to the venue. We do a little bit of pre-gaming, parking lot drinking, right? Jess and I, since we're not having to, worry about drive home. They decided to go in so that they can get their spot and told us that they'd meet up with us a little bit later on. So we're like, yeah, cool. Everybody have a good time, be safe, enjoy the show. Just, like I said, have a good time. Well, Jess and I get to our seats. And we pre-gamed it a little bit long. We missed the first 2 bands. I think we got there when Trivium was ending their set. I might have heard the very last song as they were wrapping up. Sorry, trying to get my joint going here. And then, so anyway, we got there. Sorry, whoa, starting to feel a little stoned, as I just said. We got there at the end of their set. So anyway, we didn't stay in our seats. We ended up going and walking around for a little bit. And then we came back when Lamb of God hit the stage. And we were sitting in our seats for a few minutes before the band hit. And then just as the band hits the stage, Jess and I decided we're going to stand up, which we normally do. If we're not down on the floor, of course, we're standing. But if we're in seats, when these bands play that we go see, we are almost 9 out of 10 times standing up right in front of our seat, singing, dancing, whatever it is. But we're doing it in our little space, our little section, our little square that I consider that we paid for, right? So Lamb of God comes out. We stand up. We're having a really good time, right? All of a sudden, this guy behind me leans over and he says, "Hey, sit down." And I was like, "Wait, what?" He says, "Sit down. We can't see." Well, I look around, and of course, anybody who's been to a concert and has been in seats knows that there are a majority of people like me that will stand up in front of their seats, and they will do that the entire time the bands are on the stage. So I'm not the only person who's standing up, but as I said, we were the second row in that tier that we were in, and the people that were in front of us were sitting down. So I was the only person, Jess and I were the only people blocking their view. So he thought I needed to sit down. I told him, no, we're going to continue to stand. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And I turned around and basically ignored him. Well, I don't remember. He might have said something, and I don't know. Almost as quick as I said that to him, I thought, we're all here to have a good time. I don't need to cause anybody, not to have a good time at a show. So I lean back to this guy, right? He's got to be around my age, at least I think he is. And I tell him, hey, listen, we got these 4 seats right here because remember, my daughter and her boyfriend had the seats next to us. I says, we got these 2 seats that aren't being used because they bought extra tickets to go down on the floor. Kind of explained that situation to him. Anyway, long story short, I said, hey, if you would like these 2 seats, you're welcome to come and stand next to us. That way nobody's blocking your view. We can continue to stand. You can sit. Everybody can have a good time, right? Well, he looks at me and he says, there's 3 of us and only 2 of you. So you need to move back to our seats and we'll take over your seats. It was like demanding. I was like, excuse me? You know what? I tried to be nice, but if you want to be a dick, well, fuck you. Excuse my language. But honestly, I was trying to be as nice as I could, trying to let him enjoy the show as much as I could, and it just wasn't good enough. So, at that point I told him, basically, fuck off. I'm going to stand up and you can sit back there and cry and moan as much as you want, which he did. He sat there and you could hear him in between songs making comments, just going off, right? And like I said, I ignored him for a little bit. I engaged with him a little bit, kind of poked back just to, I don't know, why not? I was feeling a little bit buzzed. And after all, I'd already tried to be nice, not justifying. Everybody should always try to have, peace and happiness. But I don't know, this guy just rubbed me the wrong way at that point. And so, of course, as he continued to talk and poke and I was drinking, I said a few things back to him. Anyway, the very end, before Megadeth finished their set, my daughter and her boyfriend at the time came and joined us. And, I told her what was going on, explained to them. I don't know, they said that guy continued to talk throughout Megadeth's set as well. So the very end of the show, we're leaving. Everybody's going to the bathroom. The girls go to the bathroom. I'm with my daughter's ex, basically, her boyfriend at the time, though, and we're getting ready to go to the men's restroom, and I see that guy, and he was with, I think, his mom and dad, because they looked a little bit older. Anyway, he comes kind of walking up on me, and he says, hey, man, you disrespected me out there. And I was like, fuck you, I tried to be nice to you. I tried to give you an alternative, a solution, and you had to be a dick about it. So, you know what? I don't really care what you think. I says, get out of my face. And he's standing there kind of like he wants to square up and stand off. And I told him, I said, you know what, go for it. If you want him, you want to take a shot, do it. But you only get one shot, I told him. And after that, it's on. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I don't ever go to concerts. I don't usually try to encourage any kind of confrontation or fights because I don't want to get kicked out of a venue or get 86 from it, for something stupid. But that guy, again, he just rubbed me the wrong way. And I told him, if you want to start, you start. But I'm going to finish it. Now, I didn't get into a lot of fights, but I was ready that night had he tried to push it a little bit further. Most of the time I go to these shows, really, it is a good time. We have nothing but fun. Everybody around us has fun. We make a lot of friends. I mentioned it earlier. I met a lot of people at these shows that I know to this day that I am good friends with. I consider them family. I see some of these people on a yearly basis when I go to festivals. So all in all, you know what? We have a good time. But there are those occasions that you have a jackass that just wants to ruin it for everybody else. That was the case at Megadeth. That was also the case at Bowling for Soup. Let me really quick talk about that. We went to Bowling for Soup, right? And we bought VIP tickets. Got to do a little acoustic set with the guitarist, or not the guitarist, the singer and the bassist. They came out, sang a couple of songs. When they were done, they were right in front of us again. I asked them both, hey, can I have a pick from each of you? And they were happy to do it, Most bands are really happy to give that kind of stuff out to their fans, because, I don't know, it just seems like they are. There are some bands that are stingy with that stuff, though, too. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, they seemed happy enough to give me a pick each. Each of them gave me one. Well, then, as the night continued, we've got our spot We ended up on the rail of that show, like I said, most of the time we do. So we end up on that rail, and all the bands that play are throwing picks and drumsticks, set lists, and I can't tell you how many things that we got that night, but we got a ton of stuff. And at the very end of the night, Bowling for Soup is on stage, right? And the guitarist, I call him the guitarist because he's the singer and he plays the guitar. But the singer is playing, they finish up their set, he walks up, throws a pick at me, right to me, but it doesn't make it. It falls short on the other side of the rail where I'm standing. I can't just reach over because those rails, they come up a little bit. So I go to lean over it, not jump over it. Let me clarify. I'm leaning over it, so my feet are a little bit off the ground, and I'm trying to grab that pick so I can then lean back. And as I lean over, next thing I know, this security guy comes up, grabs me, manhandles me, throws me back over. And again, doesn't, because I wasn't really over the rail, but just pushes me back to my side. And he tells me, "No, you got enough shit tonight." And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't realize, first of all, that there was a limit on what people could get, because it's the bands throwing it out. And it wasn't like I was fighting people, taking stuff away from people. It was stuff that was thrown at me or in my vicinity that I was able to get. I didn't realize that there was a limit, and I didn't realize that this guy was the one monitoring that for the night. Now, I've never seen that happen ever at any concert I have ever been to. But this guy, for some reason, had this power trip and thought I had gotten too much stuff throughout the night and pushed me back over. I don't remember what I said to him. I was pretty pissed because he was pretty aggressive when he grabbed me and pushed me back. He could have just walked up and said no, and, kind of lifted me up. No, he put his hands on me and really was just that aggressive asshole, right? So I don't know. I said a few things to him. One of the girls that was working there walks up. She saw the whole thing, and she says, "Well, we have to make sure we keep our band safe and that nobody comes and tries to hurt them." Well, first of all, I get that. I understand that, and I respect that. But it was very clear I was just trying to lean over the rail to get a pick. I wasn't trying to get over the rail to rush the band, the stage, or anything like that. I hadn't caused any trouble throughout the night. I told that girl, I says, he knew what I was doing. He was doing that just to be a dick. I don't know. That really annoyed me that happened. That is the only time that has ever happened to me at a show. A lot of the times I make friends with most of the security guards. Most of the security guards know me because we go to so many shows. And I was really shocked, really surprised that happened. But anyway, let's talk about this final band. If you've been keeping track, I'm feeling a little stoned. If you've been keeping track, you know which band is left, and that is Slipknot. I mentioned I got to see them twice this year. I got to see them here in Colorado Springs when they came with Cypress Hill. Oh, that was an amazing show. We were on the rail for that. The only thing I will say about that show that brought that show down, and it did bring it down a little bit of a notch, was the guy who was next to us. Nice guy. Nothing bad to say about who he was, his personality, because we got along, we talked, we engaged, but he was chewing. And that guy's breath stunk so bad, even when he wasn't talking directly at you, even if he was just talking, it was like this, man, it makes you want to throw up thinking about it now. It was so bad. But besides that, and again, I don't mean anything bad. Hey, chew, smoke, do whatever you want to do. Oh, but it was so bad that night. But despite that, Slipknot put on an amazing show. We got to see them not only there, as I mentioned, but we also saw them at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. They headlined one night. And that night that they played, Jess and I crowd surfed. We were in the back, GA, in the back. Try and get in camera view here. We were in the back. We crowd surfed all the way to the front where it was the VIP section. And normally they make everybody go out of there once they get you out. Well, I went first. And they tried to say, you need to go that way. And I said, give me just a minute. I'm waiting for my girlfriend. She's coming. And I pointed to Jess. And then they took their eyes off me. They didn't say anything else to me. When Jess came over, they told her But then I grabbed her, I said something, we kind of faded in, and the next thing you know, we're right there in the VIP section. Not only were we in the VIP section, but we managed to make it right there on the rail. I don't know how that managed. We were a little off to the side. We were on the side of, the edge of the stage. Like, here's the stage. We were like right here. But we were right there on the rail. That night, I got a pick from the bassist. Oh, I tell you what, that is a memory, an experience all the way around, is something I will never forget. That crowd surfing. I did take a video. I posted that on my social media as well. You could find that. I should probably post that on my channel. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I will do that. But anyway, yeah, took a video of me doing my crowd surfing into that VIP section. And Slipknot, for me, I think, takes that number one spot. They just all around put on such an amazing show. Corey Taylor has a really good stage presence. All of them have a really good stage presence. They all engage with the crowd. Not too much, but enough, enough to get the crowd feeling like, hey, we're all part of this show, right? And I know Corey Taylor took some heat, was it this year, last year, where he took that fan's mask. Instead of signing it, he threw it. But hey, that's a different story, another conversation. I'm going to take a toke here off my pipe really fast since my joint just went out. I'm feeling a little stoned, though, I got to say. But as I was saying, for me, all other rock bands, all the bands I listed there, for me, personally, Slipknot is that number one. I mean, they put on the number one performance. The overall experience, everything about it, they take that number one spot for me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing them again. They seem to be doing a lot of new stuff with music, and I imagine a new tour is going to follow before too long. So I hope to see them again in 2023. If not, 2024, I'm sure I will catch them. Between now and then, I will catch them at least once. So looking forward to that. Hey, really quick, let me just mention, I know I've kind of, as I've gone through this, talked about some of these bands that I got to see twice. Here's kind of a complete list of that. Stone Temple Pilots, saw them twice. Oh, that was so much fun. We got to see them here at the Colorado State Fair. Again, in my backyard. I could literally walk to the state fair from where I live. We got to see them with some friends of ours. The Colorado Lottery put that on, and we made some friends with the people that were out there promoting the Colorado Lottery. We got backstage passes. The band didn't even have a backstage thing going on. There was no VIP tickets. We got to go backstage, and their manager was so annoyed that the Colorado Lottery, the people that were promoting it, putting on their show, had done that. But it was still cool as shit. We got to, see the band. They literally just walked by and hide. One guy, I think it was the drummer, I punched it, fist bumped it. But, I am starting to feel really stoned. Hopefully, again, all of you out there are feeling nice and buzzed, too. But anyway, yeah, the Stone Temple Pilots, that was amazing. Slipknot, I talked about it. Drowning Pool, 303, Simple Plan, 741, Buck Cherry, Tool, I Prevail, and Mudvayne. Oh, some amazing bands, and I can't believe I got to see some of them more than once this year. But let's go ahead and move on to this last category. We are over an hour. This is the longest video I have ever put on. So again, I'm really curious to see if everybody is watching this. And if, people are liking it or do like it, then I will maybe do more of these video concert reviews. Maybe not so long where I do the entire year, but I will, maybe do a concert here and there and review just one show and talk about that. So let me know if that's something you all would like to see in 2023, and maybe I can make that happen. Anyway, festivals. Let's wrap this up. Festivals. 3 festivals I mentioned. The So What Texas Festival. Bands that I saw, some of the big headliners were I Prevail, 741, Simple Plan. Amazing time. Now, that was a 3-day festival, but we only went to 2 days because we didn't know a lot of bands, actually, that were playing on the 3rd day, to be honest. We just decided to save a little bit of money. We had a lot of other shows we had planned throughout the year. We thought, well, let's just do the 2 days. And I'm not disappointed. By the end of those 2 days, I was a little sad that we were not staying for that third day, because even though I didn't know any of the bands playing, it would have been an amazing time. Live music, being with Jess. Oh, who could ask for more, right? Well, nobody but me. Remember that. Anyway, I'm just kidding out there. So then the other festivals was the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. Oh, there were so many bands there. That was a 5-day festival, and we went to all 5 of those days. Bands like Puddle of Mud, Ghost, Mudvayne, Slipknot, Disturbed. I mentioned it earlier. Alice Cooper, Ice Cube. Talk about lower level bands. I was pretty excited to see Adelita's Way there. Never got a chance to see them until then. They absolutely put on a great show. I am a little sad, a little bummed that I missed Tenacious D. I heard they killed it. I heard Jack Black was funny. I heard their music. They all sounded really good. We just weren't able to make it. I don't remember who conflicted or what was going on. We were trying to make their set, but unfortunately we didn't, so I'm a little disappointed. The third festival was When We Were Young. I mentioned that earlier. That was kind of a last-minute decision that we ended up going on. It was me, Jess, and my daughter. Oh, we had an amazing time. We had so much fun in Vegas. Who doesn't have fun when you go to Vegas, right? Especially if you're going to go see a rock or a festival in Vegas. Some of the headliners, My Chemical Romance, Paramore, 2 bands I've never seen until that night. Bring Me the Horizon. And here's another kind of, I don't want to say low-level band, but one of the earlier bands that played, Boys Like Girls. I was really happy that we made it to see them. They played early in the day. We weren't sure with all, everything we had to get done in the morning, getting to the festival, getting through security. We did get there later than we had wanted, and we got there just as they hit the stage, and I'm pretty happy that we got to see them. So, of the 3 festivals that I went to, for me, it's a no-brainer. The Blue Ridge Rock Festival absolutely had an amazing time. 5 days straight of music, and I tell you what, that was actually an 8 days straight of music for me and Jess. That was remember I mentioned Roger Waters the night before. Stone Temple Pilots was before that. Imagine Dragons was that week. All within 8 days. It was just nonstop, exhausting. Don't get me wrong. We needed a lot of days to get caught back, just to feel back into normal after doing all of that time. But what an amazing experience. Something I have never done, and I got to do that this year. And again, I feel very blessed, very thankful that I had the opportunity, that things worked out the way they did, and I was able to do that. But yeah, for me, the Blue Ridge Festival, definitely my top pick. Not to mention the bands. I also have to give a quick shout out to all of my friends and family that I met out there. Some of these people, I've been going, my very first festival, I met some of these people I go to every year now, and I see them. They help bring stuff for us to use, camping stuff. They are a tremendous help. Big thanks to you guys out there. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to 2023 and seeing you all again for whatever festival we end up doing together. Which, speaking of 2023, right now, Jess and I don't have a lot of shows lined up, but I will talk about the shows that I do have scheduled so far here in just a moment. First, let me take a toke. Second of all, before I talk about 2023, my last video of 2022, you already know it. I have to mention it. I have to talk about it. I have to say it at least for a minute. And that is, please take a moment and check out my dans420chronicles.com/shop. What can you get there? Everybody tell me. Let me hear you. That's right. Your own Dans420 wear. And it's still not too late to get that order in and get that package in before Christmas. So it could be the perfect gift for yourself, somebody that you know, or as I always like to say, for somebody that you know and yourself. Anyway, please browse through there. Lots of designs, lots of different products, from tank tops, t-shirts, hoodies, socks, old phone cases. I really need to update that. Beanies, aprons. I mean, there are stickers, all kinds of stuff. So please take a moment and check that out. Of course, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please take a moment and do so. It's free to do, and I really need to get these numbers up, so it really helps. Please, everybody, if you're not subscribed to my channel, if you've made it this far in my video, come on, take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It really means a ton to me, and again, I appreciate it so much. And with that said, that's my little bit on that. Let's go back to 2023. 2023, as I mentioned right now, Jess and I don't have a lot of shows scheduled, but we do have tickets to see Bruce Springsteen. That's right, I mentioned it earlier, my number one of oldie bands. So I'm pretty excited to see him. Blink 182, never seen Blink 182. So pretty excited that we got tickets for that. And the only other band right now that we have tickets for is the mighty Metallica. That's right, my number two of all-time favorite bands. I'm going to see them once next year, and then I will see them a few times in 2024. So I'm really looking forward to that. I just can't wait. It seems like so far off, not only 2024, but even just looking at their tour, which starts next year in the summertime. Having to wait even till then seems like forever. So 2024, can't get here long. I can't get here soon enough for me. But you know what? Before we get into 2024, obviously we need to slow things down. We need to finish and enjoy the rest of 2022, and then of course take our time and enjoy 2023. Of course, with the transition here, we're coming up on the new year. I want to take a moment to wish you all a happy and a safe new year. As always, I'd like to take another moment and say thank you all again for the support, because if you've made it this far into my video, you're really showing a lot of support. Let me tell you, it means a lot, because if you've stuck with me now for, well, we're over an hour and 15 minutes now. If you're still with me, much love to you. I mean that. I love that. Thank you so much. And anyway, I'm looking forward to 2023. More weed reviews. I mentioned it earlier. More 420 projects. And as I said, perhaps maybe more of these video concert reviews. But in the meantime, one more time, let me just plug it one more time. In the meantime, until I do video concert reviews, you can check out my Dan's 420 Chronicles concert reviews and concert pictures on my dans420chronicles.com/concert page. So please take a moment and check that out as well. Anyway, again, thank you all for hanging out with me today. Great way to close out 2022, hanging out with all of you, getting stoned. And I'm definitely stoned after smoking that joint and taking a couple of those pipe hits. So again, hopefully all of you out there as well are feeling, on that nice comfy level as far as being high, buzzed, whatever it is that you are. Hopefully you're just enjoying life and things are going well for all of you out there. Again, once again, thank you. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to all of you. I'll see you all in 2023. Stay safe out there, my stoner fam.